Okay. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? All right. I believe you can hear me. We'll be starting now. Okay. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Today, we'll be talking about women entrepreneurship from our entrepreneurship and innovation series. We are supposed to be talking about and explaining the concept of women entrepreneurship. Today, in the past, we have defined the concept of entrepreneurship. We've defined the person of the entrepreneur. We've defined the person of the entrepreneur. We've even broken down this concept to understand that entrepreneurship is a process, while the entrepreneur is a person. Last time we talked about technological entrepreneurship. We also talked about intellectual rights and the laws that guide intellectual properties and patents, as well as creativity. So today we'll be talking about women entrepreneurship. All right. Now, in the course of our discussion today, we'll be talking about who women entrepreneurs are. We'll be talking about the factors that motivate women entrepreneurs. We'll also talk about the characteristics of women entrepreneurs, types of women entrepreneurs, and we'll also talk about the framework for strengthening women entrepreneurs in Nigeria. Of course, it is important that we also highlight the fact that women are very unique. They are important in the life of every nation. Little wonder a nation is referred to as her, not as a he, because of the importance of what a woman represents. So today, let's go straight to it. The concept of an entrepreneur is simply a person who either creates new methods of production, new method of doing something, a new product, a new market, a new source of supply, and a new form of organization. Such a person is a risk taker, is also an innovator, and such a person is referred to as an entrepreneur. It can also be, the concept can also be related to a person that is ready and willing to take risk, or a person who is willing to exploit market opportunities and eliminating disequilibrium between aggregate demand and supply, or one who enjoys or owns and operates a business. And such a person can be a male or a female. Like in the case of our concept today, a woman that is in this position is referred to as a woman entrepreneur. Now, entrepreneurship, like we said earlier in this series, is a process. Is a process of owning and managing a new venture or improving on an existing product or products or service or services that create values, assuming they accompany risks and receiving the resulting rewards and independence thereof. Now, entrepreneurship is also a process where an individual or group of individuals risk time and resources in the pursuit of opportunities to create value through innovation, regardless of the resources they control. So that is a brief on what entrepreneurship is. Women entrepreneurs are simply women that participate in total entrepreneurial activities. They take risk, and this risk involves the combination of resources together in a unique way so as to take advantage of the opportunities identified in their immediate environment through the production of goods and services. So you see, this is a clear understanding of who women entrepreneurs are. So that entrepreneur that takes takes advantage of opportunities or advantage of opportunities that is identified within his environment to create something, to produce something, and all that. Once that entrepreneur is a woman, we say that is a woman entrepreneur. Now, what are the causes of increase of women entrepreneurs? In the past, we say women entrepreneurs can, of course, if you say what are the causes of increase of women entrepreneurs. They are human beings. Once you give birth to more human beings, you, of course, in the process, give birth to more women entrepreneurs thereof. So one of the reasons why women entrepreneurs are increasing is the increased birth rate we observe in our ecosystem at this time, or even in the past. Women are being born and the population is increasing, and that naturally creates an avenue to have more women entrepreneurs from more women that are being given birth to now compared to in the past. Of course, in the past, more women were given birth to, but they were not exposed to the trainings, to the opportunities of becoming entrepreneurs as it is today. The second cause of increase of women entrepreneurs is improved standard of living. Standard of living has increased over the years, and once standard of living increases, it creates opportunity for you to do that which you love to do. Once one, like we have mentioned in one of our series, once one has grown past the physiological needs of life, he starts seeking other higher needs. So also it applies to both men and women. If a woman has overcome some societal hurdles like physiological needs, like religious bondages, like they observe in certain places, like some cultural issues that keep women down, the next thing, once they've surpassed this, is to go for their aspiration. And some of those women are naturally born with traits of becoming entrepreneurs. And increase in standard of living can foster the increase in women entrepreneurs. We also have dwindling government revenue from oil. Once, because we're a mono sector, a mono product sector, Nigeria relies on oil mostly. These days, although we are diversifying to other areas, non-oil sector, not oil sector to get revenue, because we are reliant on government provisions from oil. Most times, the men get a job, the women get a job, but these days, government is no longer dishing out money like it used to be. Now, entrepreneurs are being encouraged, businesses are being encouraged, foreign direct investment are being encouraged so that the economy can peak. This has caused some families to rely on not just only their fathers, but on the women. And because of that, invariably, women now are becoming more entrepreneurial. The fourth one is a change in lifestyle. The change in lifestyle these days is that women are no longer relying on men to be dishing out cash to them. Women want to own their own property. They want to take advantage of their own initiative to create opportunities, new market, new processes, and that is entrepreneurial. And that change of lifestyle has prompted more women to become entrepreneurs. We also have population explosion. This is related to the first there, increase in birth rate. The population has increased geometrically in recent time, and that invariably means that more women will be born. And if more women are born, more women are likely to become entrepreneurs. Then we have inheritance of parents and family enterprise. These days, there was a landmark judgment recently, in a few years back, that changed the entire inheritance landscape, where the Supreme Court rules that women could take an inheritance from their father, irrespective of even being married outside their communities. So that in itself has increased women entrepreneurs, because before, men were the ones taking over their father's businesses, becoming more entrepreneurial as a result of that, and so on. But women now are now inheriting family enterprises, and that forces them to become more entrepreneurial in nature. Then the next is emphasis on women education and empowerment. These days, there's always this mantra: train a woman, you train a nation; train a woman, you train a nation. And there's this emphasis from NGOs, from government, to educate the women, and empower them. Because of this, women are becoming more entrepreneurial, and that has caused an increase in women entrepreneurs. The next is civil rights laws campaigning a like we were saying, one of the things that fosters increase in women entrepreneurs is the civil rights campaign, which is against the discrimination and marginalization of women. This increase in civil rights campaign has created more awareness among women, more awareness concerning women entrepreneurs in different spaces in our environment, and that has fostered more women entrepreneurs coming on board. Now, let us talk about some notable women entrepreneurs. Now we have one we call Folarosho Alakija. She's a director of Farmful Oil, and she's an oil explorer. Her company is an oil exploration company. You see, she's a woman entrepreneur. We also have Mazumda, and Mazumda is an Indian, and she's an entrepreneur. She founded the Bicon company. It's a company that started as a small industry enzyme company. We also have Ndidi Wuneli. She's a Nigerian entrepreneur. She founded the Leap Africa, a platform to provide leadership and ethics and management. And she also does coaching for youth, social entrepreneurs, and public sector. We also have the international noted entrepreneur, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is an African-American and an entrepreneur as well. And she's a wealthy TV celebrity. We also have, if you look at your own immediate environment, you can spot some successful entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs around you. Of course, they may not be noted internationally, but they are successful in their local environment. And that is very, very important. Okay, now what are the factors that motivate women entrepreneurs? The first is financial discrimination. All right, financial discrimination has been meted on women in different aspects and at different times. And this financial discrimination is meted, and so as to overcome it, women go into entrepreneurship so that to overcome it. Now, what do we mean by financial discrimination? In some places, you find out that women are paid less than men. All right. And that is financial discrimination, meaning they're not paid equally. So for them to have been paid less than the men, for them to overcome such discrimination, they go into entrepreneurship to gain some financial benefit from their initiatives, from taking risk, from creating new processes, new products, new markets, and by being creative and innovative. So they try to bridge the gap between the financial discrimination or loss of finance as a result of financial discrimination. Now, another factor that motivates women entrepreneurs is the motivation from immediate independence. Most times, there's this air of women are being taken advantage of, women are being bossed over. So most of them want to be on their own and be independent, and that is a motivating factor. Sometimes women are being bedeviled by poverty, especially in developing countries. Women are being bedeviled by poverty, and it escalates when they have children and their husbands are no longer alive or nobody to take care of them. To alleviate poverty, they become motivated to be entrepreneurial. They become motivated to see opportunities where they are not. They become motivated to create opportunities, take risk, and so on and so forth. So another motivation is to alleviate poverty. Another motivating factor for women entrepreneurs is for actualization. Of course, some of us know the Maslow hierarchy of needs, where we have self-actualization, the need for love, and then at the peak of that hierarchy is self-actualization. So some women want to self-actualize, and to self-actualize themselves, they need to do something that gives them that air of importance, that air of achieving something. And that is a motivating factor for women. Then we also have gender roles that is increasingly changing in our time. So gender roles changing over time due to education and socialization has motivated women to become entrepreneurial. And when we mean gender roles, men being head of the family, providing for their family. These days, women are also head of families and they're providing for the family. And for them to fulfill such roles that are changing, They need to be entrepreneurial in order to make more money and get more resource to carry out this function. So that is another motivating factor for women entrepreneurs. Now, what are the characteristics of women entrepreneurs? Yeah, well, like I said, once an entrepreneur is a woman, she becomes a woman entrepreneur. So the characteristics that apply to general entrepreneurs generally apply as well. And one of it is vision. Any woman who wants to be an entrepreneur must be a woman of vision. She is to be one who is imaginative and can quickly look into the future to see any likely new trend that may occur. This is very necessary in that you need to see beyond your immediate environment or immediate time space for you to take advantage of some opportunities. All right. So a woman entrepreneur must be visionary. She must see into the future. Now, the second is creativity. One of the characteristics of women entrepreneur is being creative. And this is another peculiar trait of women entrepreneurs. In fact, this is the basic trait of women entrepreneurs because changes are more or less a daily phenomenon. Therefore, for one not to be taken unawares and sustain her position in the activities, the entrepreneur has to continuously involve herself in the creation and development of new ideas. So creativity is quite important. Another is honesty as a characteristics of women entrepreneurs. This is a vital instrument for the sustenance and longevity of any business venture, without which such enterprise will collapse. Honesty is quite important. So the moral uprightness of the entrepreneur in the business shall be taken in high esteem. The essence of this is that every organization is supposed to have been established by society and is the only morally right it is only morally right to serve the interest of that society. Okay. The next is discipline. Every woman entrepreneur should uniquely be disciplined. A woman entrepreneur wants to succeed in her actions must be embodied or be an embodiment of discipline. She must be a role model. There must be rules and regulation guiding the operations of the organization she's running, without which there may be derailment, right? So the work rules must be there. There must be rules and regulation for everyone and even the women entrepreneur to obey, and that is a sign of being disciplined. Then the next characteristic is intelligence. Intelligence. Any woman who wants to be a successful entrepreneur in today's fast-moving world, changing world, has to be highly intelligent in order to fit into the trend of events. She needs to understand quickly and interpret issues fast as they come and offer solution at the same pace. So, as an entrepreneur, she must be an embodiment of knowledge. She should know things around situational awareness, and that is a sign of intelligence. Although intelligence is more or less a natural endowment, much of it could well be learned or learned through education and so on and so forth. So it's important that an entrepreneur is educated and learn a bit of how to interpret world event. The next is energy and resourcefulness. A woman entrepreneur must have this characteristics of having energy and resourcefulness. As a leader, a woman entrepreneur must be full of energy to enable her run the daily activities of business. Inability of a woman to be energetic and resourceful affects the overall operation of her business enterprise. The next is self-confidence. Self-confidence. A woman entrepreneur is expected to be one who can take a lot of decisions and policies alone in an attempt to see to the effective and efficient running of her business. Self-confidence. All right. This ensures that the woman should have confidence in herself, her decisions, and the policies she takes. And lastly, we talk about drive-driven. So that is a characteristic of a woman entrepreneur. She should be drive-driven. What does that mean? This is the desire and determination to succeed in the face of all odds. This is because in any business, it is expected that obstacles may come and pose threats to the success of such business. A typical entrepreneur, bearing that in mind, should be fully determined to succeed in the midst of all the problems, notwithstanding where and how they come. So other characteristics that a woman entrepreneur may have may include adaptability, innovativeness, creativity. We talked about that earlier. Strength and internal locus of control, ability to think and reason fast, endurance, managerial skills, accountability, credit risks. So these are some of the characteristics a woman entrepreneur can have. A woman entrepreneur should have these characteristics of which are also general characteristics of an entrepreneur. Okay, let's move to the next. Types of female entrepreneurs. We have the conventional entrepreneurs, the innovative entrepreneurs, the domestic entrepreneurs, the radical entrepreneur. Now, let's explain them one after the other. Now, who is a conventional entrepreneur? Who is a female conventional entrepreneur? These are females that take to entrepreneurship based on their zeal and commitment to the entrepreneurial ideas and conventional gender roles. Okay? So women are known to show passion for a cause they believe in. They refer to this set of entrepreneurs as conventional entrepreneurs. The next is innovative entrepreneurs. These have strong passion and inclination to the tenets of entrepreneurship, but not restricted to the conventional gender roles only. These women venture into very challenging areas and are prone to creativity. So this particular next is radical entrepreneurs. Radical entrepreneurs, these ones center their on political and collectivist All right. We're talking about contribution of women entrepreneurs to national, socio-economic, and human development. Okay, the first contribution of women entrepreneurs to national, social, economic and human development is in reproduction. In reproduction, women play a vital role in the reproduction sector of the economy. What do we mean by that? The reproductive contribution of women is associated with biological and social reproduction, which includes childbearing and nurturing, caring of sick family members, and the growth of the household, which translates into the development of a nation. This initial contribution of women in reproduction is the beginning of human national development. Since it are not vacuum, there people must be increased, people must waste time and energy without profit income must give some recognition to them. This contribution and lacks the qualification in the national economy and growth, but we must recognize women's contribution in this aspect. The next is agricultural production. Women are involved and they constitute the most prospective and powerful means in the agricultural production activities. They perform increasingly indispensable role in the agricultural production, and scholars and research have it that out of 95% of small-scale farmers in Nigeria who actively feed the nation, 55% of them are women, accounting for 70% of labor, 80% of food production, and over 50% of food storage and marketing, and 100% of food processing activities. Also, women in the riverine areas of Nigeria are highly involved in the fishery activity, and these are mainly done using traditional techniques which serve as food for the households or for the nation and generates income for the women. The next is domestic and informal sector. Women contribute in this sector. How do they do this? Women are highly instrumental in social reproductive sector. Women are involved in household activities such as food preparation, house cleaning, washing, cooking, fetching of water, and doing all sorts of things to help in national building and human development. Then we also have marketing. Women are contributing in the form of marketing. In order to have sustainable increase in production sector, market has to be well developed. And marketing, which is consigned, which consigns itself with all the stages of operations, which aids the movement of commodities from the farm to the consumer. And these include the assemblage of goods and services, the processing of such goods, the grading of such goods, the transportation of such goods, the financing of these goods, and all the activities thereof. Women are involved in this marketing function. All right. So, and it therefore implies that marketing involves all the business activities carried out for the flow of goods and services from the point of initial production until they reach the final consumers, and women are involved in this entire process. So that is another way women get involved in the socio-economic and human development of a nation. Then we go to the next, which is food processing. How do women get involved in this? Women are involved in food processing. In many countries of Nigeria is inclusive, food processing is mainly carried out by women. These are done with modern equipment, for example, and this extraction of shea butter and so forth. In the western part of Nigeria, women are involved in soap making, poultry, oil making, clothes making, beverages, and they are involved in cooking. Women are majorly involved in the processing of palm oil, cassava, and maize. They try to process them into different products. Processing, preservation, and storage of food products are not only important for seasonal availability, expansion, and diversification of agricultural sector, but are veritable tools for food security, poverty reduction, as well as sustainable transformation of the nation. And women are involved in this. The next is business creation. Many women entrepreneurs are involved in one type of small or medium enterprise or large business or mega business in the world, in Nigeria, and so on. So it's important we recognize this. These are not only means of economic survival for the women, but are also means of positively impacting the society. And these have positive repercussions, positive social repercussions for women and for the society at large. So a large number of women work in informal sectors in the sense, in the form of agro-business, and they're also involved in other aspects of business creation. Now, the next is savings. Women are involved in savings. Women play a great role in savings, in saving what they earn, both in kind and in cash. They are known for their active participation in traditional saving institutions, such as daily and monthly contribution, like the one we refer to as Isusu, Adashi, and so on. They play a crucial role in leading, coordinating, managing, and organizing these traditional saving institutions. It is an established fact that women are less likely to be engaged or involved in extravagant or wasteful practices than male counterparts. All right. So women are involved in savings. Even in agricultural products, women trying to preserve some of the produces they produce so that they can sell in the next or plant in the next season. Then the next is generation of employment and opportunities. Women are involved in generation of employment and opportunity. They try to establish micro enterprises across the country and has helped immensely in the provision of employment opportunities to millions of Nigerians and across the nation. Then we have the women serving as agents to larger firms. How do they do this? They form small businesses, and many of such small businesses owned by women entrepreneurs serve as agents to larger firms. And those owned by government in terms of input supply. So women can serve in this capacity, their firms. So these activities help in no small measure to improve the performance of the economy. All right. Now, let's move to the next. What are the barriers to women entrepreneurial practices? The first is production, technologies, and skills. There are a lot of technologies available for use. However, the recent advancement in production technology and skills have often bypassed women entrepreneurs. Scholars have observed that access to production technologies that are appropriate for women's restricted conditions are seldom made available. This is because women's preferences as the users of technology has not been taken into consideration at all. They just make technologies without taking women's preferences into consideration. So some barriers to women entrepreneurship or practices are the kind of technology, production technology that they are and the skills that are required. Number two barrier is financial resources. Most of the rural women, especially entrepreneurs, are living in abject poverty. This situation is made even worse and impossible for most women entrepreneurs to easily set up a business, okay, or involve in any agricultural development. Why is that? Because credit is a crucial input, but it cannot be used to overcome other obstacles because the women lack the necessary collateral to access credit from financial institutions. This situation invariably forces them to resort to money lenders, which are known for high interest charges that are tailored to suit their needs, to suit the money lenders' needs. So you see, this is restrictive. This is a barrier. Some institutions don't give credit to women. Why? Women don't own land, which most of these institutions require as collateral to collect loans from their bank or from their financial institutions. And so this is a barrier to women entrepreneurship practice, financial resources. The third is marketing and product development. When we say marketing and product development, what do we really mean by that? Now, ability of the products produced by micro enterprises of women living in poverty in Nigeria has been a nagging issue. Market forces are not static but dynamic, and as such, consumers are likely to change their tastes and preferences. Hence, their demand for particular products may change. This calls for producers to be innovative in their approaches and strategic in their business if they want to stay in business for long. But unfortunately, women entrepreneurs lack marketing knowledge and they suffer from several marketing weaknesses, which result in their poor product designs, quality control, packaging, distribution, delivery, and networking. They do not generate they do not generate a market presence with this poor packaging and all that, and that affects their entrepreneurial practices. The next is management. Many factors are responsible for effective and efficient management of an enterprise, which involves planning, budgeting, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, innovating, and relating to people, and so on and so forth. So most of these functions of enterprise management are not often performed entirely and independently by women entrepreneurs themselves. They tend to engage men and all that. And this is a kind of barrier to the women entrepreneurial practice. So several factors have led to this situation, such as poverty, illiteracy, low education, and all this has affected how women manage their enterprises. Then we have socio-cultural factors as barriers. This is one of the factors. Like in some cultural palaces, the traditions, like for the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausas, their traditions tend to play a significant role in determining who becomes an entrepreneur. Women are not expected to be involved in certain occupations, according to some cultures. So you see, this can be a hindrance. We can't go into all of them now, but some don't even allow women to mingle with men in certain. Now, we also have another barrier to women entrepreneurship, which is domestic violence. This is the range of sexually, psychologically, and physically coercion or coercive by current or former male intimate partners. This often leaves the victim living in constant fear, pain, and depression. In several cases of this domestic violence, and can be incredibly harmful to overall mental. Limited Okay, let's continue. Another limitation or barrier is lack of initiative. Lack of initiative. Now, when we say lack of initiative, what do we mean? When we say lack of initiative, what do we mean? It is easy to blame society and men for the problem of women. But what about if the woman lacks the initiative to carry out the function she's supposed to carry out? What if she lacks the ability to articulate it? So it must be emphasized that women themselves share in some of their problems. In fact, they help to create some of them. For instance, most women will refuse to demonstrate that they can achieve anything. Many of them are satisfied with their husband's position or achievements and depend solely on it. They also go with the assumptions that I am only his second half. You know, that kind of concept. I do not want to appear to be equal to my husband. Some of them even try to be thinking that when they are less responsible, their husband will be more responsible and all that. So lack of initiative is another barrier to entrepreneurial practices, women entrepreneurial practices. Then we have self-efficacy. Self-efficacy. This has to do with how competent one feels in what one is doing. How confident are you in doing that? How do you feel? How competent do you feel in what you do? It is a person's belief that will make the individual successfully reach an expected goal. Also, motivation is a factor that influences an individual's choice of activities. Goals levels, that the goal level the person goes out to achieve, the persistence the person will put in a particular task, and the performance in a range of contexts. So self-efficacy is bordered around a person's belief, a person's how competent one feels in what one is doing. Another factor that can be a barrier is environmental factors. All right, environmental factors. Environmental is the interrelation or is interrelated or interdependent variables or forces that affect the way business operates. Business environment is highly dynamic and hence control the operational and business activities of an enterprise. So environmental factors are all those variables within this environment. It can also affect how women practice their entrepreneurial initiative. They also have lack of access to land. This can affect women. Decision-making and lack of trust can affect women. Non-recognition of women's roles and the problem of corruption can affect women. Lack of education, that is the issue of illiteracy, can affect women. Non-inclusion of women in extensive or extension services can affect women. Non-inclusion of women in enterprise program planning can affect women's entrepreneurial practices. Labor scarcity, lack of technical know-how, lack of government incentives, and inability or inadequate infrastructure. Lack of cooperative societies, because cooperative play a lot of role in educating their members. This can also be barriers. Okay, let's move on to the next concept we want to talk about before we round up for today. Let's discuss the framework for strengthening women entrepreneurship program in Nigeria. Remember, framework for strengthening women entrepreneurship in Nigeria. The first is literacy program for women. When we say literacy program, these are programs that are designed, or these are investment in women education targeted to bring about the highest rate of return in terms of education, educating women, getting them to learn how to read and write, and so on and so forth. This is because educated women are more likely to use capital more efficiently and more productively. So women entrepreneurs are also more likely to devise new and better forms of business enterprises and spread the benefit to others to make them more productive if they are literate. Now, to carry out literacy programs for women, how do you go about it? This can be achieved through, one, creating awareness on careers in microenterprise through formation of women entrepreneurs associations or women cooperatives and so on. You can increase strengthen women through literacy programs by financial support through non-governmental organizations, by training of more women extension agents, by creation of employment opportunities through encouraging women to start up or to set up new micro-enterprise ventures. Another way you can strengthen women entrepreneurship in Nigeria is number 2, enhancing institutional support. Enhancing institutional support. How do we do that? It is necessary that women entrepreneurship development program is laid, emphasis on it is laid more and more. And that is because it will help in the creation of manufacturing or service micro enterprises and encourage or attract support from government and financial agencies and other stakeholders. If possible, program budgets could be shared by these agencies, and this would make women entrepreneurs more confident in their efforts because of the stakeholders that are involved in their activities. The third one is building new support infrastructure. New support infrastructure. Now, it's important. Then the fourth is improving physical access to information and communication technology. So once women can the access to physical information and communication, that is technology, is brought to women, you can strengthen their entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Then we have identifying opportunities. It's another framework, another way for strengthening women entrepreneurship in Nigeria. How do you identify opportunities? There are urgent needs to identify micro enterprises or micro projects or micro project opportunities that women can take advantage of. This is because the new women entrepreneurs have limited educational background, low vision, and capabilities to identify these opportunities. But if these opportunities are brought to their fore and they are helped to identify them, they could take advantage of it. The next is training and counseling. We cannot overemphasize the place of training in any development process. To strengthen women, they must be trained and they must be counseled. There's always a need for this. This is because most of the training manuals, most of the training languages, some of them are not tailored towards women. So to get this done correctly, training manuals, training materials, automation materials must be developed in the language the women can understand, can be tailored in the way the women can use them. The next is identifying candidates for entrepreneurship. Now, the major thrust of women entrepreneurship in Nigeria is mostly for the privileged groups of women. However, it has to be recognized that not everyone can turn into an entrepreneur, right? Some are not just born to be one. So adequate programs can identify aspiring women entrepreneurs with good training, counseling support to help them to start up their own micro enterprise business and so on. Now, the major aim of this is to accelerate the number of micro enterprises that are existing and owned by women first, and then supply the first generation of women entrepreneurs with certain support materials. And this, in turn, can help generate work, employment for other people. So this identification of candidates for entrepreneurship can be very, very important in strengthening women entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Now, the next is fostering an entrepreneurial culture. Now, this simply means that to ensure that the future supply of entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs at that is sustainable, it's important that the entrepreneurial culture and spirit of women entrepreneurs should be encouraged in both families from early childhood. Once the first generation of women entrepreneurs are created, that sends a propaganda effect into the society, into the environment, that women can be this great, women can be this, can achieve such height. And that can encourage and foster entrepreneurial culture for the next generation. Now, the next is health and family issues. Now, health and family issues simply means that family planning just simply means that women suffer greatly from the restraint and the burden of frequent um, pregnancies that they carry, and that affects their business at certain points. So to strengthen women entrepreneurs, they should be assisted in this aspect, in their health issues, in their family issues, and that way they will be able to overcome those issues without their business or the entrepreneurial venture suffering in the process. So these factors can affect their lives, limit their full participation in entrepreneurial practices, and so on and so forth. So women entrepreneurs feel powerless to change their lives. However, entrepreneurship in micro business represents a strong, vibrant, and viable economic alternatives. All right. So as we round up, let me just summarize what we have done today. We have tried to talk about women entrepreneurship, the contribution of women entrepreneurship to social, economic, and human development. We've talked about the characteristics of women entrepreneurship, the barriers to success for women entrepreneurs, and we also talked about the framework for strengthening women entrepreneurship in Nigeria. All right, it's very important that you go beyond this session and read some materials on this topic. All right, thank you very much for listening. I don't know if you have any question for me. I will gladly answer. So you can unmute yourself or put up your electronic hand, and I will ask you a question, and you can answer, or ask me a question and I can answer it. Is there any question for me? Any question for me? Hello, any question for me? All right. All right, thank you for participating. See you in our next class.